In this video, I'll be talking about another chess trap. It's called the Blackburne Shilling Gambit, and it's played as black um, in the Italian game. So let's get into it. So the move order that it starts off with is e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and bishop to c4. So this is all standard stuff. But the move black plays here to start off the Blackburne Shilling Gambit is an uncommon move, and it's also a risky move if white plays the right, like the best moves. So move here is knight to d4, and this is a really risky move because if if white knows what he's doing, then it can turn out to be problematic. So the best move here is actually knight captures on d4. Then you would have to play e captures. Then the best move would be castles. Then knight f6. Uh, c6 maybe d6. So yeah, so it's not a pleasant position for black here because he isn't really developed yet. He hasn't castled. His king is still in the center. You have ideas of rook e1, followed by e5. So just not the most pleasant position. But so yeah, this trap, the best like counter or refutation to this trap is just knight captures on d4. But in this trap, it's basically a gambit. You're gambiting this pawn, um, and most of the time your opponent will actually take this pawn because it's free, right? You moved your knight to d4, just and it's not defending this e5 pawn anymore. So if your opponent captures here, then you would start getting the advantage, and the move you have to play here is queen to g5. And this move, it looks like an outright blunder because it's just inviting knight captures on f7, but that's exactly what you want white to play in this position. So if knight captures on f7, then it's game over for white, and I'll let you pause the video and try to find the best move for black. So the best move for black in this position is queen captures on g2, and this is an unbelievably strong move. As you can see, the evaluation bar is at -8, so it's completely winning for black. And the point of this move is that if white ignores this threat on the rook and goes ahead with this knight captures on h8, then let's say knight captures on h8, then we'll have queen captures on h1. And the problem is the black king cannot move. If he can't go to he can't go to e2 because his knight conveniently covers this square. So the only option left would be bishop to f1, and now we would play queen captures on e4, and now it's just unstoppable. If you play you play bishop to e2, then I think you would get knight captures on c2, winning this rook. And keep in mind, right, currently it's black is a pawn up and he's gonna win the rook, so just overwhelming. And actually he would have to give up this queen here, because if he doesn't, if he goes king to f1, then this would actually be checkmate. So he would be giving up the queen here on c2, and as you can see, it's black is 7 points up, gonna win this bishop next move, and knight's in the corner, so just black is just completely winning here. So that's what happens if you ignore the attack on the rook on h1. So if black moves this rook on h1 to f1 to protect it, then it doesn't really change anything. You go queen captures on e4 once again, so e4 pawn is hanging, and now the only good move here is queen to e2, because if you play bishop back to e2, then knight to f3 is actually a checkmate. Can't capture there because this bishop is pinned, right? because the queen is pinning the bishop, right? So and you would have to play queen, and then you just take it, and then go, or you can even capture this. King captures f7. So yeah, another completely winning position. Black is 9 points up. So yeah, that's what happens if you play rook to f1. And those are really the only two alternatives in this position. So yeah, so that's what happens when you play knight captures on f7. So what if your opponent realizes this, um, realizes that he can't play knight captures on f7? So the only other like logical try in this position is bishop captures f7. And after bishop captures on f7, it's a check, so you can't immediately go queen captures on g2. But the problem with this move is you lose one of these pieces. I think you lose the knight here, um, on most occasions, because after the best move, which is king d1, um, there's not really a good way to save this knight, um, because you still have this queen captures on d2 threat, right? So um, you can't really defend the knight and stop this threat. For example, if you have something like I don't know, knight to d3, then again you get queen captures g2, rook f1, queen captures, and that's a mate in one. So because the reason behind this is because this knight can't defend this pawn in one move. Like if it can't go to a square which defends this pawn, and this pawn would be hanging right once you go queen captures on g2. So either you would have to defend this threat or defend the knight, so you have to choose one of those. And the most common move here is just castling, and you would go queen captures on e5, followed by I think it would be c6, go knight at e6 I think, and d3. So that's just a line. So for the price of 2 pawns, you have gained a piece, the white knight, and white has gained 2 of your pawns. So I think I prefer this position as black, even though white is fully castled and like has a nice pawn structure. But you, in the end, you still have that extra piece, right, for the 2 pawns, and I think the extra piece can be really valuable. Um, so yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this trap, and I hope you guys learned how to play it, and I hope you guys like apply it in your own games. And until then, I'll see you guys next time.